This chicken Milanesa torta is the perfect fried chicken sandwich for the summer. Not only for its absolutely killer flavor profile, but I'm going to show you how to make this sandwich in just 10 minutes.
Now you're probably going, Ethan, there is no way that you can possibly make salsa verde, refried beans, prep all those fresh toppings, and fry a chicken cutlet in just 10 minutes. And you're right, that's why we need to cheat a little bit. Let's break it down.
As home cooks, we can learn a lot from how street food stands or fast casual restaurants operate in order to create amazing meals in minutes. In Mexico City, street food stands whip up an array of tacos, tortas, or quesadillas because they have made a conscious decision on what, how, and when to prep certain items.
Now we can incorporate these same methods and techniques to relieve strain on our day-to-day lives and activities and also turn out delicious food in no time.
If we take a look at every component in this sandwich, there are two pretty clear time sinks if we want to make them from scratch, and that is the sandwich roll and then secondly, the chicken cutlet.
To solve the sandwich roll, I'm just buying some this time around, and all that leaves me to solve for now is the chicken cutlet, which also happens to be the most annoying for cleanup.
Now there are plenty of ways you could prep the cutlets, but I'll show you my preferred method to get fresh and crispy ones in 5 minutes by breaking up the prep work into 2 stages, and this sandwich deserves a fresh cutlet.
Now the breaded chicken is really just a blank canvas, so before I share the beauty of the cutlet method, we need our paint, and in this case, it's going to be the salsa verde, refried beans, chipotle crema, and the fresh veg.
For the salsa verde, I'm making a raw version this time around. It's a little fresher and more acidic than the roasted one, and I think pairs very well with the fried chicken. So to a blender, add 8 tomatillos, 1 serrano chili with the stem cut off, 1/4 of a white onion, couple of garlic cloves, a big handful of cilantro, and then some salt to taste. Then blitz everything up and adjust that salt as needed, but pour that into a deli container, and this will last for a couple of days fresh in the fridge.
For me, I don't know if a torta is a torta without a smattering of beans, and this is my favorite 5-minute version.
To start, set a pan over medium heat along with a drizzle of vegetable oil. Once that's hot, toss in 2 cloves of minced garlic and let those toast for about 30 seconds. In the last little bit, I like to add a sprinkle of ground cumin and some Mexican oregano. Then pour in the can of beans, there's no need to drain them, and we're going to start mashing them up with a fork or potato masher until that desired consistency is reached. Towards the end of cooking, I also like adding another sprinkle of the ground cumin and some Mexican oregano, and then all that's left to do is add some salt and a spritz of lime to taste, and these beans are really one of the unsung heroes of this sandwich. Next, I love a chipotle crema, and this one is as simple as tossing 300 grams of sour cream into a blender, along with a couple chipotles in adobo, a handful of cilantro, and then the juice from 1 lime. Blend everything together, pour it into a container, literally done in 2 minutes. Lastly, no torta is complete without some fresh veg. So for me, I've got to have some thinly shaved iceberg lettuce, thinly sliced red onion, sliced avocados, and then also some pickled jalapenos to boot. And all of these items could be prepped ahead if you want to, or you can just do them right before doing the chicken. Speaking of, let's get to these breaded cutlets. The chicken Milanesa will be breaded ahead of time and then stored in the freezer and shallow fried from frozen. So to start, get out 4 large chicken breasts and then using a sharp knife, just cut crosswise into either 2 or 3 thin cutlets. You can make them thicker or thinner depending on your preference and the size of your chicken breast. Now, this is optional, but I also like to pound them a little bit just to even out the cutlets for cooking. So place 1 cutlet in a bag and using a meat mallet or a pan, just give it a few light hits. Again, I'm not trying to pound these as thin as they can go, I'm just evening out some of the thicker pieces. Once all the chicken is pounded, give them a sprinkle of salt on both sides and let's bread them. For this, set up a classic 3-part breading station. First, we have a mix of 100 grams of flour and 50 grams of cornstarch. Second, 2 beaten eggs. And then thirdly, some panko breadcrumbs. Place the chicken in the flour mixture first, lightly coating both sides. Then move it over to the egg and do the same, before finally finishing in those panko breadcrumbs. And really press the breadcrumbs into the chicken to ensure even coverage and stickage. Now you could cook all of these right away in the pan on the stove and just kind of store them in the fridge and freezer and reheat them if you wanted to, but it's really not quite the same as a fresh one. And the beauty of the thin form factor is that you can shallow fry them straight from frozen, yielding a crisp and fresh chicken cutlet each time you pull one out. So what I do is toss the whole sheet pan in the freezer for about 2 hours to let them firm up. Then I transfer them into a container using parchment paper to layer them in between so they don't stick, and just toss that entire container into my freezer to use at a moment's notice.
And this right here is the beauty of this method. Not only do you split up the cleanup time, but now on any given weeknight, you just walk into your freezer, grab one of these out, you can cook it up in 5 minutes and assemble with whatever sauces or your favorite toppings you happen to have on hand.
Add enough neutral oil to a skillet over medium heat to shallow fry these. You want about ½ inch. Check the temperature. Ideally, you want the oil around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then drop that frozen cutlet in and just let it fry until golden brown on one side before flipping and repeating on the other side. Now these will take about 4-ish minutes in total, and again, they should be thin enough to be completely cooked through in no time and be nice and brown on the exterior.
One word of caution, make sure you do make your cutlets thin enough so you can actually cook them from frozen. You don't want to have them burnt on the outside and raw on the inside. This is probably as thick as I would go. You can see it's still cooked in the middle, but it is nice and brown, though it's kind of getting to the edge of where like I almost too browned in a minute, but still very, very delicious.
And this cutlet method right here creates a ton of weeknight dinner potential in no time. But to assemble this sandwich, add a smattering of the sour cream to the bottom bun, along with some of the black beans. Next, hit it with the thinly sliced lettuce and red onion, crown it with the chicken cutlet, and then to that, I like adding a little bit more of the sour cream, a spoonful of the salsa verde, and lastly, that sliced avocado. Let's taste test. This is one of those where you know that first bite is just gonna hit so hard. So this is just such a nicely balanced fried chicken sandwich. It's a little bit lighter, super fresh. We got all those Mexican flavors in there, which I absolutely love. Great textural contrast as well. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. The recipe for this will be up on my website and was actually inspired by a visit to the O'Hare Airport where Frontera Grill, they serve a sandwich very similar to this. But remember, just become that torta truck and you can have this on any weeknight you want. So that's going to wrap it up for me in this one. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace, y'all.